Hello and welcome back to The Happy Artist. So we're coming up to that time of year again, Lent. And I know not everyone takes part, and it is a thing, giving up something you love, a bit like setting a personal challenge or detox. And I'm not a practicing Catholic myself anymore, but I do love myself a challenge. Most years I would have given up chocolate or wine, the latter less successfully. But a few years ago I decided to give up something radical. Not sugar, not caffeine, not even my late night chocolate binges, but I decided to give up guilt. And it has been, hands down, the most liberating thing and experience I have ever done. This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with art, but it has indirectly been probably the most life-changing experience for me, allowing myself just to express myself through my art. And I truly believe it's what gave me the headspace just to start my own art business in my 40s. And I think that it could really help you too. So before I start or jump in, I'm Lisa and I'm a self-taught artist and entrepreneur. The Happy Artist is my channel where I will share my art and my journey with you all. And whether you want to start your own art business or just dabble in anything creative, I think this is the place for you. I will offer only encouragement and helpful tips, and hopefully much more just to inspire and empower you to step into your own power. So let's flash back to 2021, and it was the year of my guilt overload. It was probably the middle of February 2021, and we were in the tail end of COVID. So anxiety and stress were at an all-time high. I had just started a master's in primary school teaching. So I was juggling being a student, functioning mom, a wife, sister, and a human. And suddenly I just noticed that my guilt levels were off the charts. I had guilt for not texting people back within that acceptable amount of time. World might end if you don't get back within a couple of hours. Guilt for not teaching my kids enough, maybe during homeschooling, had I really put them on the back foot. Guilt for having that very rare night out with friends when things started opening up, even though I'd spent 2 years solid glued to my children. Any other moms out there who still have this feeling? Guilt for doing absolutely nothing when I sat down to binge watch my favorite Netflix series, and then I'd feel guilty, and then I'd feel guilty about feeling guilty. So I was basically hooked up to a guilt IV drip, and it began to hit me, and I just knew I was addicted to guilt. The weirdest part of it was I actually thought, or maybe I just convinced myself, that it was a normal thing, that it's just part of life. To be a good person in life, guilt was just, part of it. I was definitely raised to please other people. I believed that making others happy was just so important. And wasn't it a kind of a compliment if someone called me selfless or a people pleaser? So thank you. Turns out being a guilt-ridden people pleaser is absolutely exhausting, and it is completely unnecessary. So when Lent rolled around, I had a little epiphany. If I can give up something toxic like sugar or wine for 40 days, then why not attempt to give up guilt? Can you imagine it? Would I start behaving differently? Would I stop obsessing over the littlest things that I knew deep down didn't matter? Would I actually become a happier human being? And spoiler alert, yes, and yes. So I made my grand announcement. I am giving up guilt for Lent. I remember my husband looked at me with mild amusement, and my kids barely noticed. I don't think they had a clue what I was talking about. I didn't even know what it fully meant, but I was about to find out. Now, if you've ever given up chocolate for Lent, you know how suddenly it's just everywhere. It's in your mind, you're thinking about it. Giving up guilt was exactly the same thing. Every time a guilt trigger popped up, I had to remind myself, no, Lisa, not today. You have given it up for Lent. But just like chocolate cravings, my guilt cravings did not disappear overnight. So I had to get a bit creative. When I was younger, myself and my sisters, during Lent, so we would give up chocolate and sweets and anything with sugar, but we still collected all of our little treats. We had a stash, a little biscuit tin, and we'd be comparing our stashes. We were like guilt-ridden little sugar hoarders, and when Easter Sunday rolled around, it was not a pretty sight. So I thought, why don't I try something similar with my guilt? So I created my imaginary guilt tin. If I'd forget to text someone back, into the tin. Said no to an event or a night out, felt bad, in you go to the tin. Didn't achieve enough today, straight into the tin stash. I became a sort of a Marie Kondo of my emotions. Does this guilt spark joy? Nope, into the tin. So life without guilt was absolutely amazing, and something wild started happening. I started feeling stronger and more confident in myself. I was setting boundaries, something that I had never done before. I was saying no without over-explaining, which I would have before found so difficult. I would just go off on a tangent explaining why I couldn't do something. This was very liberating for me, and I put myself first without feeling selfish. Well, I would feel a bit selfish, but you know, that came with time. And every time guilt tried to creep back into the tin it went. So by the end of Lent, I felt like a new person, like somebody had deleted 1,000 unnecessary browser tabs that were just open in my brain. And I never looked back, just like when I gave up sugar one time in tea and I nearly spat it out because it tasted all wrong. Guilt was the same. I could see it for what it was, a toxic habit that helped absolutely no one. So my guilt-free Lent led to a guilt-free life. In my next video, I would love to talk more about this if it's something you're interested in, and hopefully you'll begin to see how guilt can attract guilt. So you know what happens when you constantly seek to make other people happy. Those people, you attract people who love making you feel guilty. And the most important thing I would love for you to see is how to break this toxic habit once and for all, and just to clear up that mental headspace, just to help let your creative side come out and play and shine brightly. So if you've ever felt like guilt is running the show in your life, stick around because I do think you'll enjoy the next video. And if you like this, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Maybe you might want to send this video to a friend in solidarity, and maybe give up guilt together, not just for Lent, but for life. And let me know in the comments if anyone else has successfully given it up. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for being here, and best of luck if you do try and give up guilt. I do know that you won't regret it. See you soon. Bye.